What's up, guys? Axeltoss back here on Crisis Watch, spotlighting another champion. In week 1, we went over Gaslight Batman. Today, we're going to be going over Cyborg, a heavy damage dealer. And to join me in analysis, I have Chris Clay on the line, lead champion designer for Infinite Crisis. Chris, how's it going, man?
It's going really good. Really looking forward to talking to you about Cyborg and seeing how you do with him. He is a tricky champion to get good with, but man, is he good when you get good with him.
Gosh, I'm already feeling embarrassed because I know what's to come. Of course, people watching don't necessarily know what's to come. Now, before we get into this, can you explain a little bit your role at Infinite Crisis and what you kind of do and work on there?
Yeah, so for those who aren't aware from previous interviews, I have been at Turbine a very long time. I've been here for 13 years. I've filled a number of roles in that time. I've been a technical artist, an art director, and I've spent a lot of my time here as a game systems designer. Currently the lead champion designer, and what I do is make sure everything comes together correctly for all of our champions. Spend a lot of time working with the other designers to make sure all of the things that the champions do are coming out correct, from everything from how the art looks to how the balance comes together. And we're working with a really great team here, so it is a lot of fun.
Designing superheroes has got to be a dream come true. That being said, I think it's time to jump into the gameplay, my personal gameplay. Ready to get into it?
Let's do this.
All right. All right, here we are in game, and this is a recording from when I played earlier as Cyborg. Of course, Cyborg is going to be the champion that we are dealing with right now, trying to analyze a little bit and see what he can do. And this is a little bit of a different interface than people are familiar with as far as perhaps last week or what they've played before. One of the major things being the stolen powers are a little bit different. Can you talk a little bit about that, Chris, and maybe specifically for Cyborg, how Cyborg can take advantage of the stolen power that is catered for him?
Yeah, so each champion now has a unique stolen power. For Cyborg, his teleport is enhanced to happen faster, so when he uses it, he has less delay between activation and when he's going to teleport. Each champion is going to have their own unique stolen power that is melded somewhere off of that base, and they are all categorically better.
Fair enough. I mean, the stolen power for Cyborg is teleporting much faster to a location. That has been changed recently. Before, teleport, you could do it at any time, but now I think, you know, I haven't played that much since the recent update, but you can't teleport if an enemy is on the point. So how much of an advantage is that for Cyborg in this situation?
I mean, it's still a very strong skill because you can teleport to, if you've got any minions that are on that point defending it, or any nearby minions. If one of your allies or yourself is placed on a surveillance device, you can teleport to that. So there are still plenty of options to getting to where you want to go. Specifically for Gotham Heights, if the capture point is being defended, you're not going to be able to just, or being captured, I should say.
Sure.
You're not going to be able to just hop in there and defend it for free like you used to. It's helped bring a little bit more balance to that aspect of Gotham Heights.
All right, we'll see how I take advantage or lack thereof of the advantage that Cyborg gets with his addition of the teleport. Now, before we get too far into this, we can see the team compositions in front of us. Can you talk a little bit about the attributions for each team as far as composition is concerned, and more specifically, Cyborg's role in this specific composition on this specific team?
Yeah, so for your team as a marksman, you're going to be the guy that's going to be dishing out most of the damage for team fights. And in this early laning phase, you're going to be playing a key role in harassing the enemy players and pushing to that turret and getting it down.
Of course, the setting is a little bit differently than the old Gotham Heights. This is Coast City. So the layout is a bit different. So can we talk a little bit about the different layout and kind of the objectives in the early game for each team?
Yeah, so there are a lot of ways that we've tackled the two-lane map here. You can basically split it up with one person in the other urban jungle and then two in each lane. One of the things we've been having a lot of success with is actually having a single person go bot. You've got two people in the top lane, and then you've got two people in the jungle. And that lets you get that solo person a whole lot of extra experience and gold. And if they're able to hold, that can give them a really huge advantage come mid-game. Part of making that work, though, is making sure that the top lane is applying enough pressure to bring the enemy jungler into the top lane to help, so you can't get a 3-on-1 down in that bot lane.
Fair enough. We see me at the top. I'm the cyborg on the screen trying to catch a Green Lantern there. Now, obviously, the purpose of this mostly is going to be Cyborg and his abilities and how to work with him. This isn't perfect Cyborg play. I'm going to be the first to say that. I don't have a lot of experience with Cyborg, so if you're watching this, don't think, all right, do exactly what Axeltoss does. More, do what Chris Clay says Axeltoss should be doing. I think that should be the main idea behind this. Can we talk about the basic abilities behind Cyborg as far as the Q, W, E, and R, and how they kind of work together?
Yeah, so the first thing is his passive. Every fourth shot, he's going to do a percentage of the target's health as a attack damage, and you'll know that that's ready when you see the glowies around your gun arm.
The glowies. I like that term.
Yeah, the glowies. When you see the glowies, it's time to go. And one of the parts with Cyborg is getting in those hits on the minions. When you've got that activated, it's a good time to try and trade, especially if your opponents are at high health. It plays less of a role when they're not quite at high health, because that is doing, well, actually it's always doing a chunk of their max health, so getting that extra attack in when you're charged can help make that trade totally worth it.
Oh, and it tells you there, it says 3 out of 4 on the passive.
Right.
So I'm one shot away from my glowy stuff.
Yep, you got it. For his Q, getting good at his Q is key to his whole kit working. So when that Q applies, it's going to apply a tracer to the enemy, and that tracer is key to all of your abilities working and making you the character that you're supposed to be. So when you land that on somebody, they've got a little targeting mark on them, and when you do basic attacks against that target, you're going to be doing additional attack damage. And for your W, when you use that on somebody that has the tracer shot on them, it's going to double the slow effectiveness. It's going to do damage. Normally it just slows. When you use your E and you attack people with that targeting mark, you're going to extend the duration of your E attack speed and movement speed buff. It is really important to getting,
Sorry.
Yeah, close. It's really important to getting the most out of Cyborg that you land that. And because it can hit multiple targets, if you can land that on a row of people and then activate your ultimate, which converts your basic attack over into a line attack, you can kick out absolutely ridiculous amounts of attack damage. It's important to note that when you're doing that basic attack in a line after you've used your ultimate, it is also applying the passive every fourth shot. So you can sort of do the math there. And
it basically can scale up to a ridiculous amount of damage if you play Cyborg correctly. And to kind of explain that a little bit further, maybe a little bit more layman's terms, the Q is literally just a little laser, a little like when you're painting something with a sniper or something, you send a little red dot or whatever. It's like just sending a little red laser, and you try to hit him with it, and then you can follow up with all of your other different attacks. And hopefully that explains it fairly well. As we just saw right there, I shot my Q, but I completely missed. So I'm going to back up. So what do you think about this 2 versus 2 battle going on at the top? I've had to go back, I think, once or twice. I've been getting low on health because Green Lantern has been poking me to death. How differently should I be playing this? And how should I be approaching this 2v2 situation?
Well, one of the things with Green Lantern is his missile has a lot of range, but it's going to be stopped by minions. So keeping your minion line between you and Green Lantern can help mitigate that. His Q isn't going to do nearly as much damage. In that case, doesn't do nearly as much damage if you don't have the debuff from his missile stacked up on you. And there goes Batman. One of the things about this initial laning phase to call out is Batman wants to be in the stealth pads. If Batman's in the stealth pads, he is able to take advantage of his passive and heal up and perform that role of being a bruiser and having that extra sustain. You guys were skewing towards the top where there aren't the stealth pads, and that's part of the reason why he eventually went down there. He just didn't have his heal coming through. The other part is you've actually taken quite a bit of damage from the the drones, our drones are really aggressive right now, and they will stick on you. And especially when you've got that that big siege drone on you, you want to get away from that, especially at the low levels.
Okay. See, I'm the kind of guy who's just like historically ignored those things, just thinking, all right, they're insignificant, so that's really good to know. Really important to make sure you stay away from those drones and make sure the drones are attacking other drones rather than you.
And part of that equation is, making that choice to go in and trade. You want to go in and trade when your minion line is strong and theirs has been beat down a bit.
You can tell how new I am at this. I'm going to try to capture the top. I'm like, look, something I can capture, and then I walk away very sadly.
Yeah, it's got the big lock on it.
Yeah, it's got that big lock. I like that change y'all made. I think y'all made that change in Gotham Heights as well, putting the lock in the middle so it's a little bit more clear. Now, in talking about that, back to Coast City being the map, I feel like it's worth talking about a little bit. These 3 different locks we're seeing on the map, the top, on the right, on the left, and we got a big old yellow circle in the middle. Can you talk about what these things are and how I should kind of be approaching them, or how my team should be approaching them?
Yeah, so the power relays are really important in terms of your control of the map. When you reach 2 power relays, you essentially get super minions in the top lane, and when you get to 3, you will get super drones in both the top and bottom lanes. And what that gives you is a really big advantage in terms of the amount of pressure you can put on your lane opponents. When you've got those super drones in the top lane first, you're able to push to that turret, get that turret down, and put them at a big disadvantage. We talked about earlier, just their drones can kick it a lot of damage, so when you're at those upgraded drones, it makes a big difference.
Significant.
Yeah, a significant difference. Part of that comes down to, we were talking about the junglers earlier on. If you go that 2 jungler approach, if they can coordinate to go capture the enemy's power relay early on, it can make a big difference in the outcome of the match. I mean, the central, as you called it, the central big yellow mark.
Big yellow,
on the map
it has an official name.
Is the Doomsday Device.
The Doomsday Device. Do not underestimate the Doomsday Device. We'll see as this game goes forward how I have no idea what it does. But anyway, go on with your explanation.
The Doomsday Device is one of the key features of Coast City, and like all key features, there's risk. When you're going in to capture it, is the enemy team going to fight you there once you've been weakened by the Doomsday Device? The moment you choose to go take it is really important.
All right, so something that's new about Coast City is going to be this top meter. We see 2 yellow diamonds up there and a red diamond. The 2 yellow diamonds signifying the power relays, the red diamond signifying the Doomsday Device. Can we talk a little bit about that and how that kind of influences the map and its play and what each team should kind of be going for?
Yeah, so the power relays are an early and important part of what the objectives your team needs to be looking out for. When you take a power relay, it aids your team. When you take 2 is when the fun really starts, because once you're at 2 power relays, you will get a line of super drones that will be marching up the top lane. And if you manage to capture all 3, you'll have super drones pushing both lanes. And that will give that lane a huge advantage in pushing the lane and grabbing turrets.
Now, to kind of add to that, we just saw Nightmare Batman take 2 power relays. So, how good is that for us right now?
That's a big advantage. Once those drones get up there, they're going to give you a lot of additional force in this lane, because when you go to trade, that trade's going to activate those drones to attack the enemy players. And the thing that's going to save them here, now that they've arrived, and you can tell that they're the powered up drones because they've got those holographic augments, is it's a 3v2 now. And even with the superior drones in lane, the 3v2 wasn't going so great.
Yeah, our Batman kind of just ran into 3 of them, and I felt kind of obligated to help him when in a situation where maybe I should have backed up. I don't know.
Yeah, that would not have been the worst place to basically yeah, Batman.
I'm sorry. Like I love your effort, and I love that you really want to make things happen, but I don't see it working, my friend. I'd rather preserve my life and defend this tower, and I think now we might even lose this tower.
Yeah, because as Cyborg, if you retreat there and hold that turret, you're going to be able to do so just because you've got the additional range.
I felt like Batman is my bro, man. I can't just leave him. Can't just leave him.
Yeah, that would have definitely made him sad.
Yeah. Oh well. We'll both come back eventually, but
that
anyway.
was a really good move by Nightmare Batman there, in that he went in and suppressed his Nightmare Batman counterpart while the jungle drones were beating on him, and it gave him an advantage. But he was 2 levels under, and even with that initial good move, he just couldn't take him out.
Couldn't convert to victory there.
Yeah.
And now, okay, so here we are in the middle. This is the Doomsday device. It is open, and let me talk about my point of view, because it might seem I'm doing really silly stuff here. I think there's like a back door. I'm like trying to leave through the back door, but like there's nothing. I can't leave. It's not letting me leave.
Yeah, unless you've used a stolen power like Consume or Super Strength to pick up one of those Humvees, you can't get out the back way.
Oh, so you can kind of clear out a path there.
Yes, you can.
Oh, good to know.
Or if you've got a character that can dash or teleport over it, you can hop the wall there.
Huh. So options there for Cyborg for that little skirmish.
So one of the things you could have done there, you were in trouble because the Doomsday device had aggroed on your Batman, but you actually had the enemy players lined up nicely. Throwing off that Q there, throwing off your ult, you could have dished out a good amount of damage, and potentially as your teammates strung in there, they might have been able to clean up. But that was definitely a tough spot.
Yeah. Yep. Oh well. Another time. I'm learning as Cyborg. I wish we should have these conversations before I play, so then I can work it into it. But we see I'm going to the top here. We've lost that top tower, or the top turret there at the top right, and I'm kind of pushing these drones backwards. What should the game plan be from here? And another question I have is items for Cyborg. Like I'm kind of mixed between wanting to get more attack damage and wanting to get more like will regen, because I find myself losing will a lot of the time and not being able to use all of my abilities. What do you think I should be focusing on at this point?
So my typical build when I am playing a marksman like Cyborg is to start off with a no weapon. The next thing I almost always go for is the Claw of Horus. It just has everything that you want. It's got the attack damage, it's got the attack armor, it's got lifesteal. It's just an amazing all-around item for a marksman.
It's called the Claw of Horse, you said?
The Claw of Horus.
Okay, cool.
Looks like this big armored gauntlet.
Okay.
After that, depending on how things are going, I'll often go for Joe Chill's Revolver.
Yep.
This is giving you attack damage, crit, and eventually crit multiplier. Beyond that, you've already got them, the Velocity 9 implants, giving you attack speed and crit. Past that, a lot of it depends on what you're facing. If you've got a team that has gone heavily on the defensive track, picking up the Atomic Axe for the armor pen on it. If you want to go more sustained, taking the Soul Taker Katana and getting that additional lifesteal. If you really want to push well, you can go with the Mega Rod and get that extra AoE damage off your basic attack. If you're finding that you're getting burst down too quickly, going with the Ruby of Life and getting a little bit of defense in there for some extra health can also work out.
Sure.
I've never heard anyone say, "Man, I've just got too much health."
No, that's the thing. Like sometimes I'll just on a team like this too, where I feel like we have a lot of kind of damage dealers, a lot of pokey type. We don't have do we really have a tank? I'm trying to. What's our team comp again?
I mean, Batman's going to be the closest thing you've got. I don't know exactly how he's building at the moment. Vampire Batman can also fill that role, depending on how he builds. But you've got a bit of a squishy makeup overall.
Yeah, so like maybe some good logic to make in a situation like this when I'm on a team where we have a lot of squishies. maybe going for some more health would be a little bit better? Or would this kind of depend on how my teammates are doing? Like, let's say Green Lantern is scaling up. He's going to be our carry. Is that a situation where it's okay to kind of back up and be like, all right, let's get a lot of health items so I can be alive a little bit longer, so Green Lantern can get his damage done?
I mean, whenever you're playing a marksman, your first job is going to be to do damage.
Okay.
You want to make sure you're still doing that.
Yeah.
Giving somebody else who is getting more kills and is in a better place to really make the fights happen, giving them just a little more time to get off their full rotation is never a bad thing. Well, never's a little bit excessive, but usually not a bad thing. In this case, because they've got some real enforcers on their team, going Rubio Life as your last item could certainly work.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'd love to see what Batman has on his build. Bringing up that tab menu, just getting a quick glance at.
Pass to Axeltoss, hit tab, please. I know I do it a couple times because I do like looking at my opponent's units and my teammates, items sometimes as well. So we'll see if I can pop that up. But I don't think I'm doing terrible at this point.
No, definitely not.
Okay. Good to know. It looks like the Doomsday device is open in the middle. I'm looking for support characters because I don't want to go anywhere alone.
Yeah, this is an interesting point in the match because they have all three of those power relays. So they're going to be sending the enhanced drones both top and bot lane, which really puts you into a more defensive position because you're going to have to do extra work to make sure that they don't push all the way to your base towers.
Yeah, definitely a mistake letting them take those power relays. I feel like a lot of skirmishing was happening in the middle that wasn't actually contributing to any necessary cause except having fun and just getting kills and stuff like that. And it feels like they just split up, played really well, and just took all those power relays. And now we're in a situation where I think our top tower at the top has been destroyed, and they have all three of those power relays. So now it's going to be infinitely more difficult to try to hold these pushes. What's the best way to approach from here, specifically, perhaps even as Cyborg?
Yeah. At this phase, I mean, sticking with your teammates is going to be key because especially with the way you've built, I mean, you can't take a ton of damage. You need that. Oh wow, he just came out of nowhere.
It always happens. We talked about this last time, man.
Yeah, Nightmare Batman, not your friend. Sorry, that totally derailed me.
We were talking about sticking with teammates and
sticking with teammates and going on the defensive for a little bit here, and making sure that you preserve those two base turrets, and watching that timeline and waiting for that moment when those power relays unlock, so you can turn the tide. This is a really great time for the enemy team to let their minions do their drones do their work, and go back and cycle in and take that Doomsday device and use it on one of your base turrets to really start sending the game into the end phase.
Right.
You guys are on the ropes here.
We are indeed. Can we make a heroic stand and make combat happen? Looks like that's going to be good for us. One of their that might have been Gaslight Catwoman.
Yeah,
no, that was
Wonder Woman. So getting their enforcer out of the way means you can really focus on taking their weaker characters. So power relays have unlocked. With their enforcer down, getting those relays, sending some people really quickly towards that top point, and potentially even sending people across the urban jungle to grab theirs. This could be a turning point. I haven't seen it, so I'm looking for it.
I feel like we're getting some decent trades here. Obviously, we took out Wonder Woman earlier, and then we just got two of them there, and now we're getting this power relay, and they still have yet to take the top and the left. So I feel like overall this is going not as bad as it could be going, but we just lost that tower at the bottom, which.
Yeah, and that's just talking about the power of those. Enhanced drones.
Yeah, I actually went back to go try to deal with that, but unfortunately we lost it before I could get there.
Though this is a moment when you could take advantage of your teleport and swing up, teleport to one of your drones up top to help take that top.
See, I
power
keep
relay?
forgetting I can do that. That's like, because I'm stuck on the Gotham Heights mentality, the old teleport, where you can only teleport to control locations that you control.
Yep.
But you can now teleport to drones.
That is correct.
Okay, good to know. Good to know, good to know, good to know. Next time I play Cyborg, Chris, I promise, it will be much better. It will be much better. But at this point, it seems like we're kind of sticking together. Looks like those power relays have been locked down. And now we're going for some ganking. We're realizing that we got to get something done. I feel like that's the general feeling here. And maybe catching 1 or 2 off guard would be a good thing. As we see Nightmare Batman trying to back up.
Yeah, he is in trouble.
Yeah. So, is that a correct way to approach this, or should we be making more objective-based decisions as far as, all right, let's send 2 to the top, 2 to the bottom, 1 watching the power relays and the Doomsday device, and then converge if we need to?
Yeah, it's a tricky. There are so many options for, how you could pull this out.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the key things is, for you, when you went into Nightmare Batman, you were leading the charge. One of the things that you want to do as Cyborg is, stay 1 tier back if you can.
Yeah.
And, let your bruisers do the work of starting the fight. Hopefully soak up some of their crowd control and let you just sit there and unleash your damage.
Yeah, I think I was caught pretty off guard there. But it seemed like overall it was pretty good, because I don't know if I saw that correctly, but I think 4 of us stayed alive and we killed like 3 of them.
Yeah, that was a really good team fight.
Yeah.
When your team is together, you can dish out a ton of damage, and in that context, you guys could definitely pull this out. It's winning another key team fight, pushing down some of their turrets, potentially taking the Doomsday device. All right, now we get a quick look.
Oh, dang it, Axeltoss. Why are you just looking at it so fast? I had it up for like 30 seconds earlier, I saw, but I know you were talking during that phase.
Yeah, I was mentally elsewhere.
Well, hopefully we bring that back up again. But I think right now I'm kind of mixed in between selling units, selling items, buying items, trying to identify which are good, which are bad. So I don't have necessarily a plan. And I think eventually I resort into just taking recommended, since it's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm thinking too much about it. But looking at my item slots right now, what changes do you think I should be making? What should I be focusing on?
I mean,
if that's answerable.
Yeah, the one thing that's really missing is that that Claw of Horus.
Okay.
Getting that additional sustain that you get from lifesteal, with the Claw of Horus or the Soul Taker Katana, that gives you just that extra bit of time, dishing out hurt, and just a couple basic attacks from you in a team fight can make a real difference, because you're kicking out some real damage now.
Yeah, I just took out, I think, a couple turrets there.
Right, and they're pushing the base with the Doomsday device.
Yeah.
You guys have gotten back to defend. Hopefully you can make them pay for overextending a little bit there.
Yeah, I think, I feel like I played that okay. I mean, pushing those creeps to the top, is that an important thing? Like taking down those 2 turrets in the top left, trying to kind of apply some pressure to their base so that they have to feel obligated to kind of return back, or maybe, our drones start doing a lot more damage, and then at the same time having the ability, because I have the teleport, right, to kind of teleport back and still be able to defend against any impending attacks. Like, where is the line drawn there? Like, what should I really be focusing on?
I mean, so much of that just comes down to, gut instinct for the moment. The only thing you potentially could have done differently there was let your base take a little bit more damage and go grab that 3rd power relay, because you're right next to it and it was open. And that would have given you a lot more pressure in both lanes, which are both pushed out fairly well at the moment. And without those drones at your base turret, they really aren't going to be well equipped to push into your base. Oh wow, Wonder Woman completely caught out there.
Yay, go team.
No, they're stringing in.
Yeah, we just got 2 of them for free there.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly happy about that. I think I got one of those kills. I'm not entirely sure. But, you know, that was a situation where obviously good for us, right? We just took out 2 of them for free. How do we take advantage at this point of getting those 2 kills?
Yeah, so yeah, the trick is they're being aggressive in the top lane and pushing towards your base, so you really do need to push that back out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other priority at this point is just taking objectives where you can. You know, we're running out of time on those 2 kills, but you know, trying to get to their turrets, pushing out those lanes is definitely the correct choice at this point, though.
Okay.
The best of the options available.
And I think we just we might have trapped someone there in the top right. Yeah, there's their Nightmare Batman, but then he goes invisible. I think I survived this, maybe, hopefully?
Right, so basically, Green Lantern was able to stun him with his ultimate, which cancels his Feral Embrace, which all he needed was 1 extra tick on his Feral Embrace, and you probably would have been done for, but...
Thank you, Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lantern saved the day right there.
But use his ult, so they can know that the timer's kind of down on that, which I guess might be a little bit advantageous, but even so, preserving my life, I'm very thankful. 2v3 I'm taking here. Actually, there's the 3rd teammate. I'm trying to I got it. Like, Cyborg has to stay back in this situation. Can't be taking damage, just falling back. But again, we don't really have that tanky presence, so it's kind of a tricky situation here. As far as, you know, how do you actually approach this team fight when you don't really have that guy who can take a lot of damage?
Yeah, this is tricky because both of the people who could be, filling that role from you, the Batmen are hanging out in the jungle. I'm not quite sure what they were doing. I don't know if they were trying to prepare to take those power relays as they came up, but with your base turret down, you are certainly on the ropes here.
Yeah. Gosh, and we almost preserved it too. And I think I was kind of trying to kite back towards where I get my health and stuff, and then kind of re-engaging, trying to just really fully optimize my location and how much damage I can deal out. But again, I think that's a situation where if we had more of our teammates there, it's a little bit easier. But again, as you said, they were in the middle of the map, not sure what objectives they were actually trying to achieve. But, we just brought him down pretty low in health. We got the drones pushing top fairly well, and now we got a nice little group at the bottom. I have to ask you again, is this the right decision? What should we be doing from here?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you guys have to make something happen.
Yeah.
And putting pressure on their base, when your base turret is down, they could potentially try and get somebody in the back door.
Yeah.
The only thing that really stood out is at that moment in time when you were pushing in, they had all 5 up, you only had 4 up, and they were going to be able to bring more force to bear than you guys would.
Right.
And that's essentially what happened there. And if they stick together, there's no reason that they couldn't push all the way through for the win at this point.
Fair enough. Because what kind of defensive advantages do we have at this point?
Not much.
Right.
I mean,
just the ability to spawn near the base, or the ability to run back and get health.
Yeah, run back and get health, and the fact that you've got your minion waves right there spawning.
That was bad. I should not have died there. And that might be game.
Yeah, Batman is strong, but he's not going to be able to make that happen.
Yeah.
Especially with Green Lantern off in the urban jungle.
So I think the summation of the past 2-3 minutes there was overextending there at the bottom. I think we lost a couple for free in a situation where we can't really afford to lose anything. And then at the end there, I got a little bit greedy. I think Wonder Woman was able to tag me with her rope.
Yep, she got you with a lasso.
Was that range extended recently?
Yeah, so one of the big changes coming in with the latest beta patch is that missiles pretty much across the board are faster, and they also almost across the board are longer range.
I knew it.
So there's a little bit of adjustment time getting used to that.
Okay. So I'll call that that little catch there, because I don't usually get caught by that stuff, I'll be honest. That was me adjusting, because I think she played it really well. She hit at the very end of her range there, and she was able to get me. But there's the defeat. Unfortunately, we did lose. Let's see. My kill death was what is that? 13 assists, if I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah, I mean, overall you did solid. You were more kills than deaths, most assists on your team. You were definitely making things happen. Changing your build up a little bit to get a little bit more tank and going with that tank and sustain with that Claw of Horus.
Claw of Horus. I gotta remember that. I will. All right, so I played that okay. I think we've generally decided. Again, that was I haven't had a lot of experience with Cyborg, but Chris, if you could give me a few tips, key tips to focus on that you observed throughout that entire game as Cyborg, what would those tips be?
Yeah, so right off the bat, going with that Claw of Horus as an early item for you will give you that extra sustain and just a little bit of extra tankiness, which can make a big difference. On that item path, going with Joe Chill's revolver, part of being a marksman is making somebody panic. It's putting them on the tilt, getting them thinking.
I'm in trouble.
Keeping them from thinking clearly. Really just getting them confused, and getting a really big crit in with Joe Chill's revolver can make a huge difference. The other aspect is a big part of Cyborg is how well you're delivering that AoE damage in the team fights. So focusing on not hitting just a single target, but lining up a bunch of them with your Q, unloading with your ult, and then using those line shots, not necessarily attacking the person that is your main target, but somebody that's going to let you hit the most people you can. It's a little bit of an abstract thought, but can make a huge difference in the outcome of a team fight because you can just chew through people, both squishies and those with really high health pools because of your passive.
And last question for you, as far as Coast City is concerned, maybe if you're judging our team, or maybe if you're judging my personal play on how it kind of coincides or works with my personal team, what changes would you suggest to take more advantage of the assets, the advantages that you can potentially take advantage of, sorry for being redundant, on the map of Coast City?
Yeah, so on that front, when you're going to go with the team that doesn't have a dedicated enforcer, part of it is you need to have that numbers advantage. You need to just be better off than the opposing team. So when you want to take that more risky, highly offensive approach, you need to think about sending two people into the jungle. One person basically concentrating on the lower jungle, one person concentrating on the upper jungle. A person, a character like Joker can effectively hold a lane by themselves, and it's risky. You need a person who's really strong and able to play that conservative role, but that can give you that numerical edge to push through with a less tanky team. The other approach is to play it out as you did. Have the one person in the jungle, and making sure that you've got somebody. Batman skewed a little bit defensive, but you probably needed Vampire Batman a little bit defensive as well, just to give your team that little extra bit of sustained pressure.
Awesome. A lot of things for me to think about and that I'm going to take into consideration as I continue play Cyborg in Infinite Crisis. Chris, I want to thank you once again for coming on and giving me tips. I know it might be hard to watch. I know it's like, this guy's terrible. Why am I helping him out? But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and helping me out, man.
It's been a pleasure.